Hello and welcome to the beautiful grounds of Ampleforth College for the final and decisive round of the Women's HSBC UK National Road Series. Last time out it was the South Coast Classic around Eastbourne, with Jocelyn Loudon of Drops producing a fantastic solo effort. Rebecca Durrell of Brother UK Tifosi, powered by On Form, has already wrapped up the series, but with 30 points on offer for the win today, the rest of the podium places are definitely still up for grabs. This year's HSBC UK National Road Series is made up of 8 races across the country. At each round there are 30 points up for grabs for the winner, and the rider with the most points at the end of the series wins the crown. It's as simple as that. This is the 15th edition of the Ryedale Grand Prix, starting and finishing in the grounds of the beautiful Ampleforth Abbey. The event moved to the monastery in 2013 and has now become a firm fixture in the racing calendar. There are 2 parts to the course today, starting and finishing in Ampleforth College. The riders set off for 2 laps of the big circuit, heading south and including Alston and Yearsley, before heading back into the college grounds. The peloton then do 3 laps of the shorter course, which cuts out the Alston Loop, a total race distance of 94.1 kilometres or 58.5 miles. And with every lap raising up through the college grounds, it's always a hard race.
I did it last year, and in my head coming into this weekend I was like, oh, it's not that bad. And then I rode it yesterday and was like, oh, this is lumpier than I remember and much grippier road surface, but I think it'll be a good course. Attritional. The wind's dropped down a little bit from yesterday, but if it picks back up, that could play a big part.
Now we're starting to get towards the end of the season, you do start thinking about kind of what you've done this year and what you might want to achieve next year as well. So I think it's safe to say for the whole team it's been a really successful season. So yeah, the feeling's good.
Having looked at the circuit, there's quite a big climb quite early on. So you just got to be ready for anything, haven't you?
Can enjoy this race and just have a good one today, hopefully. So yeah, it feels good.
So I think it's going to be hard day from the gun, but hopefully lots of fun.
Well, as you can see, the riders are now lined up for that neutral rollout towards the start-finish line, and that should give me enough time to run down there myself and join Danny Rowe in the commentary box.
Well, I certainly hope she makes it, as I'm super excited to commentate on Ryedale Grand Prix Women's Grand Prix, a race I've actually never ridden myself.
Good morning, Danny. I've made it down here and it's been brilliant to catch up with the riders ahead of today's start, and I think the main thing that I can feel is that anticipation of this being the season finale and the people that can still affect those overall standings, as well as going for a win today.
Yeah, I think, like you said, with it being the last round of the women's series, it's super exciting, and it's the chance for the riders that haven't had a result so far to really clinch that last kind of victory or top 10, whatever they're aiming for today, to finish their season on a high.
Yeah, it's been a brilliant season and 8 rounds in its entirety, which, as we've said before, haven't we, that expansion is just brilliant to see for the scene as a whole.
Yeah, it's great, and obviously this round is one of the toughest in terms of the terrain. It's really lumpy, really up and down, one for the more pure climbers of the peloton, and I think that's also great, having such variety in the courses, something for everyone.
It really is tough, isn't it? And Claire Steele was in her pre-race interview with me earlier saying that she's actually forgotten just how lumpy this is.
Yeah, and you can see already here it's gone up from the start. We saw a lot of riders warming up before the start of this race, which you do when you know it's going to be tough from the gun. I think a lot of riders were anticipating that today. A really brutal race to top off this series of racing.
It certainly is, and as you say, a lot of riders chatting to me on the rollers and the turbo in their warm-up this morning. Let's have a little look at what the overall standings mean as we come into this, because Rebecca Durrell speaking with a lot of confidence this morning because she cannot lose that overall. I know she would very much love another victory today in Ryedale, but she's fought so hard to get that top spot, and with 165 points she has got a really comfortable lead. But behind that there are a couple of riders that could really do something to change those podium positions today, because Leah Dixon currently sits in second. She's not in the field today, neither is Justin Loudon, who sits in fourth, but here is Liz Bennett, Jem Powell and Claire Steele within that top 10, and they could actually move themselves up.
Yeah, super exciting day for them, and like you say, Bex Durrell is going to be loving this race, I'm sure, not being able to be clinched from that top spot, so she'll just be, you know, out there today and really be able to ride her heart out knowing that she's going to be on that podium. But for the others, like you say, a really exciting day for them. They've got everything to gain to move up in those standings, and I know those riders, they suit this course, especially someone like Claire Steele and Jennifer Powell, who are both really, really good climbers.
Well, it is indeed our series leader and overall victor to be crowned today, Bex Durrell, who's actually driving this on the front, and she's had a gilet over that white leader's jersey, so less easy to spot today. But indeed, actually, as we say that, she's unzipping that gilet now, and we can see all its glory on her shoulders. Now, interesting moves from her today, really controlling it from the front, drilling it. I mean, presumably she just wants to whittle this down. She knows how strong she is on the climbs.
Yeah, and at the moment you can see still a large group in this peloton, and I think it will become attritional to start with, and then you'll see potential attacks at the end. With such a tough course, it's really, really important not to burn your bridges too early, to save all your energy for the end when it really gets attacking.
In the middle of the screen there, that's Georgie Pancho of Bianchi Damage. Now, she's someone that we see put in so much work on the front, and she's got a couple of teammates in there today in the form of Emma Cockcroft and Jem Powell as well. An incredibly strong squad that we've really seen just animate throughout not only this series but the circuit series as well.
Yeah, and it's really great to see really the level in the women's UK scene rising, and they're really riding as teams rather than individuals like it was a few years ago when I was racing.
Yeah, it's certainly changed a lot in terms of dynamic as well, and we've seen riders that have come over from other sports as well with so much strength, but actually improving their tactical approach race on race throughout the season. One of those being Claire Steele. We know she's strong, she's a personal trainer, she spent so much time putting the hard work in, but actually to see her make so many key moves is brilliant.
Yeah, she really impressed me actually in the National Road Championships last year. Super strong rider. I've ridden out with her in Mallorca where she lives, and it's great to see her really use her strength in the right way now, rather than just potentially using it when it didn't matter.
And this is a really good position for her, isn't it? Because actually we've seen this from her already this series. She likes to control things and get up the front on the climbs.
Yeah, and it's great that she's actually being on the front at the right moments there on the climbs, rather than wasting her energy when, you know, it doesn't actually count and riders can sit behind her and get a free toe.
Well, on the front here, we can see the familiar sight of Bex Durrell in the overall HSBC UK National Road Series Leaders jersey. We're no stranger to seeing her on the front, and she has got her teammates surrounding her from Brother UK to Foci powered by On Form. And we really have just seen such a tremendous display, not just from her as an individual rider, but the options within that team. They've had different riders in the team take the wins here and, of course, protect her in that overall lead as well. Anna Henderson, notably, not here today, but she's had rides on Great Britain, and she is just a phenomenal young rider to watch rise.
Yeah, I think she's a real one to watch in the future. Like you say, she's guested for Great Britain in a few of the top races on the continent, and you can see her strength and depth is really rising. She can do so many different race courses, she can sprint, she can get over the climb, so I think it's really exciting to see how she develops as a rider.
And their team has had a big battle with the other Brother UK Fusion team, and it is Molly Patch on the front for them, stringing it out on this descent. And it's really interesting to see how many of the riders really want to whittle this down, as we see a reduced bunch here coming up. It's Anna Christian of Drops on the front here, and she's the only rider from this team today, an incredibly strong force to be reckoned with, and nice to see her back on UK roads.
Yeah, it's a really great race for Anna Christian today, and perfect position for her to be in now. It has been an attritional race so far, and now she's in her element. She can really be in a small group of riders and be able to attack, and I'm sure she's going to make it super hard towards the finish.
Well, it's Jen Powell and her teammate Georgie Pancho of Bianchi Dummer here as well, having a little bit of a chat out the road, bit of communication here at the head of the race. Now, if it was you looking at the attritional nature of this course, where are the key points that you'd be looking to make a move?
I think it's really important in the first half of the race to really try and save your energy. It's attritional, you need to stay near the front, make sure you don't get left behind with those who are just dropping off the back, and make sure you're going to be in that small group coming to the finish to really be able to play and use the energy you've got left for the finish when the attacks start to happen. So for me, I think I'd just be biding my time at the moment, trying to stay safe, save my energy, making sure I'm getting a lot of fuel on board, looking at those riders who I think are looking strong specifically on today's course, and trying to go with any attacks at the finish. And then if I feel good myself, looking at the time of the road, time of the race when it's the hardest, because ultimately that is the time to attack. When everyone else's legs are hurt and everyone's looking at each other, that is when you go. So I think that's what you're going to see, especially up to that finish line. That is where it looks like to be the hardest point in this course.
And you say looking at each other, of course, with this being the season finale for 2019, these riders know each other very, very well, don't they? And actually what they are likely to do and who is likely to be left at the end of this.
Yeah, I think it'll be really interesting as well, because some riders are more comfortable than others on the descending, on the climbing. So I think you really have to work to your strengths and look at the other riders who you're with at the end if it does whittle down, and try and attack them at their weak point.
And we've talked about this course. There's a lot of lumps in it, as the riders noted earlier. But what about this weather? Because you can hear actually just how windy it is down here today.
Yeah, and I think that will make a very big difference to the race as well. It's always really interesting looking at weather conditions coming into races. So even if you are a climber, you might hate the bad weather, the rain, you might be really nervous descending, and that could have a bearing on where you are in this peloton.
Welcome back to the final round of the Women's HSBC UK National Road Series here at the Ryedale Grand Prix. And it is the colours of Bianchi Dummer driving things on the front once again, and that is Jen Powell, followed by, it looks like Jo Tinley, second wheel there.
Yeah, and this is really getting attritional now. I'd say the bunch has really reduced from the start, and you can see them going uphill, downhill. There's hardly any flat on this course, and it is super, super tough.
It really, really is, and I think if you look back at recent years as well, in this previous edition of the race, it's always been so wet, so I think actually having that element reduced a little bit will be quite a welcome respite for them today, with the sun shining, albeit very windy out there. And we see once again Claire Steele of Brother UK Fusion, I was going to say on the front, but actually she's pounced off the front. This looks like she is taking her time to go.
This is the first attack of the day. It's been attritional up to this point, but this looks like a great move from Claire Steele. She's not looking back, she's committing all the way over the climb, and that is what you need to do to form a really, really good break. And you can see Anna Christian behind, hot on her heels, trying to chase her back over this climb. Hopefully there will be a break that forms. That would actually work in Claire's favour. This is too far out for her to go solo.
And you can just see as she opens that gap up, there is a quartet of riders looking at each other now, realising they've got a gap to the peloton and riding across to Claire Steele's. And I think it looks like the sight of Anna Kay, another rider without teammates here today, but she looks like she's in that group as well, and Bianchi Dummer's Jen Powell.
And this looks like a really, really great move off the front, and they really need to commit now, because this is a time where the peloton is still quite close behind. They can see them in front, and they need to just commit together, work together as a team before they then start looking at each other towards the finish line.
We know how much training Claire Steele has put in, but she mentioned it in her interview earlier, that she's had bad luck. She's come back from injury, and she hasn't certainly by any means had it all her way throughout the season, but she spoke with that quiet confidence. She said she was excited, and I think we could tell she was going to do something today.
Yeah, for sure, and I'd love to see her get a really great result today. I've trained with her in Mallorca. I know how hard she trains, and she has had really bad luck. She's really learning how to race really well tactically, and I hope she can use that form today.
And it is Rebecca Durrell in the white leader's jersey who is on the front now. As you mentioned, Danny, they know that they've got this opportunity to go now, and there is absolutely no resting on the laurels.
No, exactly, and you can see riders behind in the gap to the peloton, and this is where they have to commit. There's a good group of them here. They can really work together and get a really good gap before, like I said, they can start looking at each other towards the finish line, working out their race-winning moves.
So let's have a little look at who we've got in this very strong breakaway group now, as you can just see some little gaps forming behind that with the pace that Claire Steele and Bex Durrell are putting in. But now we get a glimpse of this group once again, and it is down to 4 riders comprising Claire Steele, Anna Christian, Anna Kay and Jem Powell.
This is looking like a great group, and you can see this is the strength and depth of women's racing in the UK. These are the 4 strongest riders today on the road. When they've gone through 3 laps already, they're into the final half of this race. They're working together, and it's going to be a tough finish.
Talked a lot about Claire Steele today, but another rider that has just been so strong, never afraid to put an injection of pace in, and that is Jem Powell. They haven't again had it all their way this season, but she really has just given it her all every step of the way.
Yeah, exactly, and it's really great to see riders who have really improved throughout the season as well. She's really learned how to race, and she's really, a really great teammate as well as an individual rider herself. So again, I think she'll do a really good ride today.
So the rider that just takes a little look over her shoulder there is Anna Kay. She's just 20 years of age, and she was one of those riders that, especially in the cyclocross ranks, and of course she spanned so many different disciplines very successfully, but she was holding her own with the senior riders as a junior.
Yeah, and I think she must have learnt so much from being able to ride with older women when she was a junior rider. And like you say, coming from cyclocross, she's got the technical skills, she's got that strength and ability, she can climb, she can sprint, she can really do it all.
And with that is Anna Christian of Drops. That takes her moment to go and see if she can actually attack this group and split it apart. I mean, we've seen the level of success she's had in the individual time trial, in fact taking the under-23 National TT Championships in 2017 over on the Isle of Man, where of course she is from. Now this quartet is back together, but they know if they let Anna Christian get away, that's very dangerous.
Yeah, super dangerous, and it's really great to see Anna Christian in fine form herself. Like you say, in 2017 she was flying, and I was actually riding with her myself in the Wiggle team. So for me, it's really good to see her out here battling on the roads that I know she will be loving today.
And we get a glimpse of this peloton that has significantly been whittled down, and that time gap to the 4 up the road is now 40 seconds. Steele's, Christian, Powell and Kay, and we're seeing yet again the attacks coming thick and fast. Anna Christian goes, but she dodges a squirrel in the process.
That was really close. I'm glad she didn't hit the squirrel along the way, but this is a great attack from Anna Christian with Claire Steele's right on her back wheel and Jenny Powell's having to chase behind with Anna Kay on her wheel. So this is a really great move from Anna Christian.
Quick reaction from the squirrel there, but also quick reaction time from Claire Steele. She is letting nothing get away today. As we mentioned a couple of times earlier, she has her sights on this win. She's had ups and downs, but she knows this is the chance on this season finale.
Yeah, that was actually really impressive from Claire Steele there. She wasn't looking at the other 2 riders. She got straight onto Anna Christian's wheel. And that's sometimes a problem with a break of more than 2 or 3 riders. When there's 4, if one person attacks, usually the riders behind are looking at each other, but Claire was straight onto it. She didn't have to chase for long, and now she sat behind Anna Christian, making her do the work.
Yeah, it makes all the difference if you can get straight on those moves, and she has certainly been attentive today, never ever coming off either the front or very close to the front of that peloton. And Jem Powell as well, pouncing straight on, chasing back, and now we have 3 riders, it looks like, in this front break, and Anna Kay has been distanced.
Yeah, and it looks like Claire Steele's just getting out of the saddle here to try and make a move, but Anna Christian again is getting straight on the back of her. So these three riders are really playing cat and mouse now, trying to attack each other to get away before the finish. They don't want it to come to a sprint finish up the last climb.
No, they certainly don't. And something that we haven't mentioned yet, Anna Christian, of course, came second last year in the 2018 edition. So as she sees Claire Steele's go on this final climb, she will desperately want to bring this back and take the victory and go one better this year.
Yeah, she's got a carrot in front of her now with Claire Steele's coming up to 200 metres to go, but it's all to play for still with such a steep climb up to the finish.
Jen Powell there just controlling herself over that speed bump. You can see how much the riders have got to contend with as Claire Steele's is out front with just 200 metres to go. You can see the leaves blowing across this road. The wind has played a huge factor today, but Claire Steele's came in this morning knowing she wanted to take the victory here at the Ryedale Grand Prix. She makes that turn into the finishing straight, albeit a very tough gradient, and you can just see she's making light work of it. She's gritting her teeth. She's not looking back now, and she crosses the line. No victory salute. She wants to make sure she has secured it, and indeed she has. And it's Anna Christian that comes in second, followed by Jen Powell. What a stunning victory for Claire Steele's.
That was an incredible race. I'm so happy for Claire. She rode that really smartly, and I believe the strongest girl won out there today.
Confirmation of that result, it was Claire Steele's of Brother UK Fusion, followed by Anna Christian and Jen Powell.
I had a terrible start to the season, as I said before the race, and just to finish the season, like the National Series, on a victory means everything. I've had a second, I've had a third, I've had punctures, crashes, broken bones, broken bits of my bike, so to finish on a win just, yeah, makes it all worthwhile.
And let's see what that's done to the overall classification. Of course, Rebecca Durrell seals the overall victory. Leah Dixon remains in second, and Claire Steele's jumps up to third.
I'm really chuffed, really happy. It's been a tough season. It's been quite a long one. We're all quite tired now. But yeah, really pleased to take the overall. And to be backed up by such a strong team as well is for them as well. So it's been great.
Confirmation of those final team standings. It is indeed Brother UK Tifosi, powered by On Form, that sealed the victory with 452 points. In second, it's Brother UK Fusion RT, followed by Camponense Velo Performance. A stunning victory today for Claire Steele's, and that overall win for the series going to a very deserving Beck Sturrell. That's all we've got time for, not only here in Ryedale, but from this series as a whole. We'll be back next year, and in the meantime, keep up to date with everything else you need to know from the world of cycling over on britishcycling.org.uk. Lots of celebrations here at the Ryedale Grand Prix. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.